Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes it happens in many families, tragedies after tragedies happens and they don't understand why these tragedies. Some families, no marriage is taking place, not for one or two people, but for many people. They're trying their best but not getting married. And some of the families, some kind of sicknesses, most of the family members have got some kind of sicknesses which is affecting them. They don't know why this happens. Some people, they are trying their best to get a job and always something is blocking or the other, and they don't know why this happens. Some families, when they enter, as soon as they move to a new house, always there is problem and they feel there is kind of evil spirit or something like this, and they're wondering why these kinds of things happens. And likewise, there are so many unanswerable supernatural things or some kind of things happens in our families and connections. And in such situations, people wonder why these things happens. There may be many reasons why these things happens. It can be a natural reasons, maybe supernatural reason. One reason that we find from the Bible is this. 2 Samuel chapter 21, when King David took up charge, he found there is something happening and his prayers are not being heard. And then 2 Samuel chapter 21 verse 1 onwards. Chapter 21 verse 1 onwards. We read like this. Now there was a famine in the days of David for 3 years continuously. David is the chosen one of God. Though David is leading the country, still the whole country was suffering from famine, not for 1 or 2 days, but for 3 years continuously, year after year. Then David inquired of the Lord. The Lord said, there is blood guilt on Saul and on his house because he put the Gibeonites to death. There is a guilt on this community. Saul was the previous king. Before David, King Saul was ruling the country, and he and his sons have committed terrible sins, and therefore there is blood guilt on this land. Therefore, any prayer that you make will not be heard until you rectify this mistake. And later you can see that if you continue reading, David is rectifying the mistake. David is doing a lot of rectification. Let's read verse 14. At the end, once he completed a rectification, what happened? They buried the bones of Saul and of his son Jonathan in the land of Benjamin, in Zielah, in the tomb of his father Kish. They did all that the king commanded. After that, God heeded the supplications for the land. After that, he heeded the supplications. God heard the prayer. After what? After they did the rectification. There was some evil that has taken place in that land by the previous generation, ancestors, their family members, their relatives, sin of abortion, fornication, adultery, killing, unholiness, injustice, evil. That has to be rectified. Whatever that we could rectify physically, we should rectify it. But if we cannot do it physically. For example, our ancestors did something, we don't know what they did. But we can do one thing, offer the holy masses for the sanctification for our ancestry. Offer the holy masses for the sanctification, purification, and salvation of the souls of our ancestry. And purify, for example, if you are in a new house, when you enter into house, make sure that you pray for those people who lived there before you, who may have committed terrible sins in that house. They may have done something terribly wrong and which is against the divine law. We need to purify those places by offering holy masses for the souls of those people who lived there. If they are alive or if they are not alive, pray for them. When you pray for them, you are doing the penances on behalf of them. You are praying for them. They are praying for their soul. Then after that, God will heed your supplications for that place, from that place. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
It's very important, my dear brothers and sisters. Sometimes, even though we are so prayerful, something is blocking. Even though we go to church on many prayers, still something is blocking. That means there is something else the Lord wants us to know. Where there are certain things which we may not even know, because it's not easy for us to go to the future, past generations and find out exactly what gone wrong. But one thing we can know, there is Holy Eucharist which can go back to your past, present, future. Holy Eucharistic celebration has the capacity to go back to your past and rectify everything that happened wrong in the past. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.